Imagine a place where the earth breathes sacred whispers. Where every stone and stream feels touched by celestial hands. The sky stretches wide and endless, cradling a valley so alive with spirit that stepping into it is like walking into a living prayer.
These mountains have their own spirit. When you walk through this valley, it feels less like a journey and more like a quiet, living prayer.
A valley is more than just a place. It's a sanctuary where time slows, where the sacred and the everyday blend seamlessly. Faith doesn't reside only in temples. It blooms in the fields, dances in shared smiles, and rises in hands lifted in gratitude toward the towering peaks. Every sunrise here is a quiet reminder that the divine is woven deep into the very fabric of life. This is Osla Valley.
There are still no roads here. We have to walk for hours to bring essential supplies back to the village. It's difficult, but this is the life we've always known.
A place where reality softens and the world begins to feel unreal, as if these mountains have risen not just from the earth, but from memory itself. Each peak holds something older than history, echoes of lives lived, stories told, and silences that linger in the stone. Even the air carries a strange familiarity, like a dream you've visited before but can never fully recall. And here, on the sacred path of the Har Ki Dun trek, every step becomes a journey through time, spirit, and legend, into the heart of a true valley of the gods. Beyond Osla, the mountains take over completely. At around 2,500 meters in the Garhwal Himalayas of Uttarakhand, the terrain transforms into stone, slope, and silence. The village lies within the Govind Pashu Vihar region, far from any motorable road, closer to the routes that eventually lead toward Har Ki Dun. The moment the road ends, the world changes. Footpaths replace routes. Narrow trails cut across steep ridges and forested slopes, disappearing around cliffs before reappearing again far ahead. Distance stops meaning very little here. Every movement is measured in effort. In these mountains, distance is not measured in kilometers. It is measured in steep climbs, aching legs, and the determination to keep moving forward. Below these paths, the last trace of vehicles fades away completely. From that point onward, everything arrives on foot. Mules appear regularly along these trails, carrying sacks of supplies, food, and daily necessities across ground where wheels cannot exist. It is a rhythm the mountains have dictated for generations. The landscape never stays still in view. Forests climb the slopes, valleys fall sharply into silence, and rivers move far below, hidden between rock and shadow. Small settlements appear only occasionally, each separated not by distance alone, but by hours of walking through difficult terrain. And with the seasons, the entire system shifts. In warmer months, these paths remain alive with movement. In winter, snowfall begins to close them, slowly cutting the village inward from the world beyond the mountains. Osla exists inside this shifting balance, where geography is not background, but the force that defines how life continues.
If you're still watching, you probably enjoy this kind of content.
Subscribe. I will upload videos like this regularly. In Osla, the mountains do not sit around daily life. They decide it. Across the slopes beneath the village, terraced fields climb the hillside in narrow steps of soil and stone. During the short growing season, families work these fields continuously, planting potatoes, wheat, and rajma in every space the land allows. From a distance, the terraces look carved rather than built. Along the same paths that connect the village, livestock move constantly through daily life. Sheep and goats scatter across the slopes, while cattle remain close to the wooden homes that cling to the mountainside. Their presence is constant, woven into the sound and rhythm of the village. Inside one house, wool from freshly sheared sheep is being washed and prepared by hand. In another, a wooden loom is already in motion, threads slowly forming fabric that will become clothing for the coming winter. Outside, a line of mules climbs a narrow trail, their loads shifting with every step. No road has ever reached this village, and so this movement has become ordinary, almost invisible to those who live with it every day. Life in Osla does not rush. It follows the rhythm of the land, fields, animals, weather, and memory moving together through the seasons. For those who live here, these are not traditions preserved from the past. They are simply how life continues. In a village of only a few hundred people, separation is almost impossible. The settlement spreads across the mountainside in clusters of wooden homes connected by stone paths worn smooth by generations. Movement through the village rarely remains private. Every path leads into another encounter. An elder sits outside a doorway, speaking softly with a neighbor. Children run across the stone paths, vanishing between houses and reappearing moments later with the same energy that fills the village. Someone returns from the fields carrying tools on their shoulder, while others gather nearby before the day fades. Work rarely belongs to one household alone. When fields need attention, when livestock must be cared for, when tasks become too heavy for one family, others step in without being asked. The mountains make independence difficult, and over time, cooperation becomes instinct. Visitors notice it immediately. Doors open without hesitation. Conversations begin without introduction. Hospitality is not performed here, it simply happens. And when the village gathers, that connection becomes visible all at once. Music moves through the settlement. People step out from every direction. Young and old stand together in the same space, sharing songs and traditions that have carried across generations long before modern life ever reached these mountains. In Osla, community is not an idea. It is the only way life has ever worked here. In Osla, every season carries its own form of pressure. When the warmer months begin to fade, the mountains slowly start to change the rhythm of life. What feels reachable and open in one moment begins to feel uncertain in the next. The narrow trails that connect the village to the outside world remain the only lifeline. Along these paths, movement continues while the weather still allows it. Mules climb the slopes carrying sacks of supplies, food, essentials, and materials that will have to last far longer than the journey that brought them here. Each arrival is quietly important, not because it is rare, but because it carries the weight of what comes after. Inside the village, preparation begins long before the first snow falls. There is no announcement of winter here. It is understood through small changes in the air, in the silence of the evenings, in the way people begin to think ahead without speaking about it. Families set aside supplies slowly, carefully, not in excess, but in calculation. Everything is measured against time that has not yet arrived. When the cold finally deepens, the mountains change their presence completely. Snow begins to settle across the slopes, and the familiar paths grow quieter. Some days, movement becomes slow and uncertain, as if the village is holding itself still with the landscape. In those weeks, Osla feels less connected to the world beyond the valleys. Not abandoned, just distant in a way that is difficult to describe. Yet life does not stop. Inside wooden homes, firewood is used with care, not waste. Conversations become quieter. Daily routines shrink into what is necessary, not what is possible. Livestock is kept closer as families adjust to a rhythm shaped entirely by what the mountains allow. There is a kind of understanding in this silence, that everything outside will return in its own time, and that until then, the village continues, carefully, quietly, without drawing attention to the effort it takes to endure each passing week. In Osla, isolation is not spoken about. It is simply lived through, one season at a time. At the center of Osla, life gathers around an old wooden structure that feels less like a monument and more like a living presence within the village. The Someshwar Devta Temple stands quietly among the homes, built in traditional wooden architecture that has endured for generations. Its walls carry intricate carvings, figures from ancient epics, animals, and symbols that reflect a world where belief and daily life were never separate. This is not a place that remains still. According to tradition, the village deity does not remain fixed in one location throughout the year. The idol itself moves between villages according to a fixed seasonal cycle, carried and welcomed as part of an old system that still continues in the present day. When it arrives in Osla, the entire rhythm of the village subtly shifts around it. 2 times a day, the sound of drums echoes through the settlement. This is performed by the Bajgi families, who have carried this responsibility for generations. The rhythm is not for visitors or ceremony alone. It is part of daily life, marking time in a place where clocks are less important than tradition. Around the temple, life does not pause. It continues alongside it. People pass by on their way to fields, return from tending livestock, or gather briefly in its courtyard before continuing with their work. The temple is not separated from the village. It is embedded within it, present in movement rather than silence. On certain days, the village gathers here in larger numbers. Music rises through the settlement, and families come together in shared celebration. Young and old stand in the same space, not as spectators, but as participants in something that has been carried forward across generations. In Osla, belief is not distant or removed from daily survival. It exists in rhythm, in sound, and in the quiet structure of everyday life. Long before reaching Osla, the village often already exists in stories. Outside the mountains, its name is frequently linked to an ancient epic, retold in different ways across generations and regions far beyond these valleys. Over time, these stories have taken on a life of their own, shaped as much by imagination as by history. For many visitors, this is the version they arrive with, a narrative already formed before the journey begins. But within the village itself, life moves in a quieter direction. Here, stories are not spoken as distant legend. They are part of a broader cultural memory that exists alongside daily life, not above it. People wake up to the same routines, the same land, and the same challenges that have shaped generations before them. Over time, what becomes clear is not a single version of truth, but the distance between how a place is imagined and how it is lived. Outsiders often arrive searching for meaning in myth, but what they find instead is something more grounded, a village focused not on the stories told about it, but on the life that continues within it. Fields still need to be worked. Animals still need to be cared for. Winters still need to be prepared for long before they arrive. And in the middle of all of it, stories remain, present but not separate from survival itself. In Osla, meaning does not exist only in what is believed. It exists in what is lived every single day. After spending time in Osla, what stays with you is not a single story, but the rhythm of life itself. A rhythm shaped by mountains that do not allow shortcuts, by seasons that decide movement, and by a silence that stretches far beyond the village. Here, life continues without the conveniences that define most of the modern world. Yet, it does not feel paused or forgotten. It feels adapted, carefully shaped around what the land allows and what it refuses. Every path carries effort. Every season demands preparation. Every household understands the balance between what is available and what must last. And still, life moves forward. Not quickly, not loudly, but steadily. Children grow into the same landscapes their parents once crossed. Families continue routines that were learned long before them. And the village remains connected not through speed or access, but through shared understanding of the place they call home. There is no need for grand statements here, because survival itself becomes the statement. In a world where distance often separates people from the places they imagine, Osla exists as a reminder of something more grounded. That life does not always move away from difficulty. Sometimes it learns how to live inside it. And in that quiet adaptation, the village continues, held together not by isolation alone, but by everything it has learned to endure.